Toradora. Is it good? Was it bad? Well, let's see. So let's answer the question right now. I think it's a really good anime. It's part of my top 10 favorite animes of all time. If you haven't watched the series, this is kind of just an analysis of what the show is about, characters, animation, all of that. If you've already watched the show, just go watch it again for old time's sake. But if you have watched the show and you were like, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, oh, it kind of sucks, let me try to change your mind of why that anime is so good. I just love the anime, and I just want more people to have just more of a fan base of it. I just really love the anime, so I just kind of want to change your mind why it's so good and just why I love it so much. So this is just an analysis of the characters with my kind of thoughts sprinkled in, so I really hope you like it. Before I get into the review, let me tell you kind of why I love Toradora so much. It was kind of one of the few animes that, in the romantic genre, that really blew me away and was like, oh man, romantic genre is an actual thing. Kind of like opened my eyes. It was kind of just a really big anime, kind of about it. There's kind of action animes and all that has a sprinkle of romance in it, but just a purely romance slice of life. It kind of opened my eyes to like that type of genres. So that's why I love it so much. So the big animes in 2008 was Code Geass, Soul Eater. I really like Soul Eater and Code Geass. I like Soul Eater's art style, and I really like its kind of just how they portray the characters, but the plot had a lot to lack to me. I don't think they had enough episodes to explain it. Black Butler and To Love-Ru, I haven't watched it yet because it wasn't my kind of cup of tea, honestly. But in the romantic genres, there is Clanad, but I'm not going to watch that. Well, I will watch it. If you guys suggest me, I will watch it. It just, I didn't originally watch it just because it was really depressing to me. A lot of people say it was sad, and I was like, maybe I don't want to watch this. Maybe I don't want to, like, go into this. But if enough of you guys be like, oh yeah, you should watch it, it's really good, I'll go watch it. I'll maybe do a review on it if it's good enough. There was also Spice and Wolf. I'm actually going to watch that. It's in kind of my imaginary watch list. It's Spice and Wolf, and then I'm going to watch Wolf Children as well, with those at the kind of the same time. I heard there's like 2 seasons of Spice and Wolf, so I'm going to be watching those and maybe do a review if it's good enough. So that's kind of my thoughts on the kind of why I like Toradora so much, but I'm going to get into the review. So before we get into the story, let's talk about a little bit about the characters and the kind of a background check about them. So let's start off with Ryuuji. He's a 17-year-old boy that lives with his mom. His dad was part of the Yakuza. There was little bits and pieces of actually what happened to him in the series, but I don't have a full idea what honestly happened to him. The one thing that his mom really loved about Ryuji's dad was his eyes, and kind of like how like he was kind of cold-blooded, but that's kind of the opposite with Ryuji. He's a really nice and friendly person, but the one thing that he did get from his dad was his eyes. His eyes look really mean, so everybody's scared of him, and everybody kind of doesn't want to be his friend. So it kind of makes a problem between it, because the teachers are scared of him, like everybody's scared of him, but he loves to like just be friendly with people. He loves to cook. Also, he really loves to cook, to be fair with you. He loves to clean. If there's any mold, if there's any stain, he'll clean it. It doesn't matter how hard it is, he'll definitely clean it. But that's kind of what Ryuji is. He's very kind, he's very nice. His mom works like a very kind of a night job for like really late at night. I think like 2 o'clock at night or whatever. It was really late, so he kind of cooks for her. And later on in the series, Ryuji he cooks dinner, and then he cooks breakfast for Taiga. But that's a little bit later in the series. So that's kind of Ryuji. Speaking of Taiga, let's talk about her. She is by far the best character. Ryuji's only second compared to her, and let me tell you why she's just really good. Like, I can't really tell you why she's really good. You kind of have to watch the series to like know why she's really good. She's just a well-made character. So let me explain a little bit of her backstory. Not much about her backstory because it reveals more later on in the series, like way later on in the series, but let me tell you a little bit about her personality. So let me tell you why she's so good. She's a tsundere. Wait, before you say, oh, another tsundere, because you're tired of all these kind of overused tsundere tropes. The way they actually like made just Taiga in general is really well made. They don't overuse the tsundere trope. It's kind of like a passive ability, like think of that. and it's kind of just, it comes out sometimes, but it's not, oh, I'm just a tsundere, like that type deal where like it's only a tsundere. There's like more personality, more all that, and it's always like a little bit of tsundere. It's not like a full-on tsundere that will hit you and like smack you, but like she does do that, but it's not overused, and I really love how they do that. But she is a really good character. She's also very, very clumsy. But like the tsundere trope, if you don't already know, the tsundere kind of type is they hate the main character, but they warm up eventually as the story progresses. She is definitely the best character, but due to her often like kind of snapping in brutal ways and her kind of short stature, she's also given the name the Palm Top Tiger. She's also very clumsy, like I said, and does not make the best decisions. Her height is 4'8", and other than that, she is by far the best character. Like I've been saying, she's really good. They make her. There are 3 other characters. They have really good traits and personality, but I'm gonna give you like a short 3 sentence description of their personality and all that. So the first one is Minori. She is the love interest of Ryuuji, and she loves to work. She also has several jobs the whole entire series. She also plays a lot of sports. She is the team captain of the girls' softball team, and she's very ditzy and energetic, but she is the best friend of Taiga. So the next one is Ryuji's best friend, Kitamura. He is the vice president of Urahashi High School, the high school that everybody goes to, and also is very confident and very happy all the time. He also is the love interest of Taiga. He is also the childhood friend of the person coming up, Amy. Amy. Yeah, I think it's Amy. I really hated her in the beginning. I think she was kind of a bitch in the beginning. I didn't really like her, but as I was rewatching the series and as I was researching the show a little bit more, she actually was the realest person in the series, I would say. I thought she was really fake in the beginning, but she was actually the realest one because everybody else had kind of a little mask over their face, and they were like kind of fake, but they were not their real personalities. Some of them were, at times they were really their real personalities, but most times they were fake with their feelings and they're fake with their personalities. But I think she was the realest one there, and I have to give her a lot of credit because she is a really, really good character in general. They really made her like really good, and she kind of was the realest one because she kind of was the more mature one over the time because she did magazines, or she does magazines, and then she does photo shoots as well. And then she's just like a kind of a model, I would say, in that show. But she is also, I didn't like her in the beginning, but I really like warmed up to her over the time of the series and rewatching the series. I kind of looked at it in her eyes, and I kind of got why she was doing everything like what she did, and then I kind of got her personality. But that's the 5 main characters, short description and then long descriptions of them. But I'm going to be talking about the first episode. Alright, so the story starts off with a boy named Ryuuji. He goes to a high school called Urahashi, and he had like really cheerful eyes just going into the school. It was his first day, and then like he bumped into a little girl, and he tried to muster up an apology like you would, but he got uppercutted in the jaw by her, and then she ran off. So he thought that was really weird, so he just continues with his day, and then he has a best friend named Kitamura that he's known for years. So he got to know everybody in the class. Then the end of the day happens, and then he went to go grab his bag from class, and then out of nowhere, a small little girl just rolled out of like a locker. Like the locker, I don't really know what it's called. There's always in Japanese, like I think it's in Japan, but I don't know. But I saw it always in anime. There's always like a little locker or like a couple lockers in the kind of the corner of the room for like storage. So she kind of rolled out of that. And she looked at him, and then she started throwing chairs and desks like twice her size, and then she ran over to grab the bag he was trying to grab, and they were playing a good old game of tug-of-war, and then she kind of sneezed, and then she ran off, and then he thought that was really weird, so he kind of walked home. He was like, oh, like, who was that? Why was she trying to get my bag and all that? So he went home, he went into his house, and then he went into his room, and then he looked into his bag, and there lied kind of a love letter, and then it said Taiga on the front, and he kept on hearing the name Taiga, and her nickname in school, the Palm Top Tiger. So he just put 1 to 1 together, and it was like, maybe that was the Taiga that punched me in the jaw and like threw discs at me, and she was probably trying to grab the love letter off of my bag. So he was kind of playing with it. He like put it up in the air, and he was like kind of just messing around with it. And then it opened, and then like he was just looking at it, and it had jagged edges and like all that. And then he kind of deduced that like she was kind of clumsy and all that. So it just opened randomly, and he got like kind of scared that it opened. But he was like, whatever, I'll just give it back to her tomorrow. So he went to sleep, and then he heard a really loud noise outside of his room, and then he figured out. She just mentally figured out that it's not his mom. He lives with his mom, and she usually just works the night shift, like all night. So he kind of was like, oh, what is this? So he walked out of his room to see what it was, and then like right in the face, he almost got a wooden katana in the face, and then he like barely catched it. And then he looked down the other side of the sword, and guess who it was? It was Taiga. So he was dodging the strikes, and she kind of fell down. And Ryuuji, he kind of thought, oh, she was probably really sick, so she kind of passed out. And then she woke up, and then he like kind of calmed her down, and then they talked for a little bit. And she said, oh, that love letter was actually for his best friend Kitamura, but she put it in the wrong bag. So the conflict here was she kind of wanted the love letter back, but she was just too sick and she was too weak to actually get it back. So she just wanted to go into his house and then like steal it back. But what happened was they were talking for a little bit, and she like notices over on the corner of his room kind of like a stash of like different stuff, or, like music and all that, for his crush when he dates her. And she was kind of like saying like, oh, what's that for? And he was like, oh, it's for dates for my crush, Minori, what's his crush. And then they were talking for a little bit, and they were like, oh, Minori is actually Taiga's best friend, and then Kitamura is actually Ryuji's best friend. So it kind of makes a little like a way that they can help each other get with their best friends, and that's kind of like the first episode in a nutshell, kind of. So I'm going to talk about a little twist that happens in the kind of the plot line of the whole entire thing. It's generic, I know. It's a normal trope that always happens, but they kind of played it in a way that it was kind of a lot more better than most animes, and that's what I kind of like about it. So we're gonna get into like a little twist that happens inside the series. Alright, so I'm gonna get into that. That kind of, they didn't really overuse this. They didn't step their boundary with it. They didn't underuse it. They didn't overuse it. But they used it just right to further the plot and to make it more convenient. But when I tell you this, you need to understand that sometimes the creator, it's easier for them to do certain things that is like overused because it furthers the plot, and then it makes the plot easier to connect. It's like kind of like when you tie a string. It's if the string is too small, then you can't tie it as properly as if it's longer. What's making it like, if it's easier just to like connect the two, then they'll do it because it's just easier to further the plot, and it's easier to like work with than having someone like do this or having someone do this and then having someone live all the way over there. So the twist that happens is they live like right next to each other. What it is overused, but I think it's used very well here, just because it furthers the plot, like I said. But they live so close that Taiga or Ryuuji can literally jump out their window and then like jump into the other person's window because they're very much aligned. And then Taiga also kind of has a rich house, but not like, they have a richer house than Ryuuji. I forgot what his dad or her dad does. But I think he has like a lot of money, so she like has a really good house. But the other trope, I mean, in tsundere fashion, basically like she hates Ryuuji in the beginning, but it's kind of like a riser where like eventually like they become friends and then they hang out. So that's kind of the little twist that goes throughout the series. But I'm going to be talking about the animation and the songs next. That's kind of why I gave it a 10 out of 10. It definitely like increased the stars by like 3 just because of the animation and then the music. For that time frame, it was just really well made, and then Okay, I'm going to start off with one of the kind of the first songs you hear, and one of my favorites in the show, the op. For the op, I think it fits the show, definitely. Some ops don't fit the show, some ops are just too crazy and they focus a little bit too much on the music, but with the animation and like the scenes that they do with the first op, I just think they just do it really well. And it's just one of the first songs you hear in the show, and that's very important with anime because if you hear a very good first op, you kind of get that it's going to be really good, but sometimes it kind of fools you and it's a really good first op, but then it's a really like bad show. But with this show is they fit the first op, and then they fit the first op with the whole entire like scene of the show, so it kind of introduced you like this is what the show is about, kind of, and then this is kind of the pace that it kind of goes. But I'm going to show you a little bit of the song right now. But that song is really good, but let me tell you a song that's like, if it's played in the right scenario, because the op can only be played in the beginning, or like in the middle of the show. If the op is like good enough to be in the middle of the show, I don't see it often, but I saw it a couple times. But it's mostly the op, it's the opening song. But this song, if it's played at the right scenarios, it's crazy. And it's called "Broke My Pieces," and it's just really crazy how they paired the animation with the song. Well, it's that's kind of like how anime works, but like they paired it so right, and I just really love that song. And it's just like it's kind of a tearjerker because it kind of makes you sad when it's paired with the right scene, and then like you just hear the music play. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of it. So I'm gonna throw you for a loop. That song does not compare to the song that you're gonna hear around the 19th episode. It's a long trek to get there, but it's definitely worth it, because it's a really well made song. It's actually a song sung by Amy and Taiga together. It's at a Christmas party, and like I said, it's around the 19th episode, but it's definitely worth it to actually I don't see it's worth it if you haven't watched the show and then you search it up on YouTube. I don't suggest you to do that, because the magic of these songs and the magic of that is going through the journey with the characters and going to episode 1 to episode 19 and then seeing it, because it's a whole entire different experience when you look at the characters progress and then the story progress. So it's a different emotion when you watch the series from episode 1 to episode 24 or episode 1 to episode 19th, where the song is. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the song right now. That song is just really good to me, and I definitely suggest you to not actually search it up on YouTube, but to go through the story and then go with the characters. Unless you have already watched the show, then do whatever you want. But if you haven't and you want the best experience, don't just search it up and then listen to it. But if you have listened to it outside the show, I would suggest you to watch the series of its entirety and then be like, all right, like I said, it's a different emotion, and you can't really explain it. But I'm gonna get into the animation and then the voice acting and kind of what I like about the I guess the animation, the voice acting, what I really like about it. Alright, so like I was saying, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the dub and then the sub and then the animation, voice acting and then the animation. I think the dub is better than the sub. I personally think that. It's kind of a preference thing though. It's some people like it in sub and some people like it in dub. But you would never watch Full Metal Alchemist in sub because dub is just so good. And then again, some people would rather watch Full Metal Alchemist in sub, but then the dub is really good, and I think it applies to Toradora, where the dub is always good, and then the sub you can never go wrong with. So you can never go wrong with any of the things. So don't don't listen to me and be like, oh, he thinks the dub is good, so I'm gonna watch it in dub. If you want to watch it in sub, it's up to you. I just personally think when I first watched the show, I first listened to the first I think the 2 episodes in both dub and sub, and I just thought the dub was just way more superior of the sub. But then again, I was listening to the sub and I saw the talent that it kind of had, and I definitely want to watch it back in sub. And it's just going to be a new experience, because in every show, the dub versus the sub is always a new experience, or what you feel. There's always a different experience with the dub versus the sub, and it's always a preference thing. You never should listen to someone and be like, oh, the dub is good, but you don't actually like the dub. You should always be like, I like this better than this, so I'm going to watch it in this, because anime is about enjoying something than just trying to gulf it down, and let's say your favorite anime YouTuber says you should watch it in this. Don't actually if you want to watch it in that, then you should do that. But like if I say like watch it in dub, don't watch it in dub if you don't like dub, or if you don't have a good history with dub, or you don't think the dub is going to be good. Watch it, try it. Like every single time I watch dub or sub, I always watch the first couple episodes in dub and sub, and then from the first 2 episodes, if you can't decide from the 2 episodes dub versus sub, then it's kind of, I would say it's I don't know how to really explain it. It's just if you can't decide what you love in the first 2 episodes, then you kind of have to like be like, it should be a clear like winner. What you like. If you like a dub or like you like sub, then it should be a clear winner, and then you choose that thing for the rest of the series. So I really like the dub, and I suggest you to watch it in dub, but if you want to watch in sub, go watch it in sub. But I really enjoyed the dub. So I'm going to be basically concluding this review, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my thoughts about the show. Alright, so that concludes the review then. I definitely suggest you to watch the show. It's a 10 out of 10 in my eyes. I think it's really, really well made. I think the characters are well made, except like some aspects in the characters. But overall, I think it's a well made show. The songs are amazing. The animation's good. The story, the plot. I think it's just a 10 out of 10. But we're gonna get into a little bit of spoilers and what I thought about the end. Please don't watch this if you haven't. If you want to watch the series, don't watch this. Because to me, it's kind of like hiking 90% up a mountain and then being carried like 10, because when you like watching the show, it's a long haul. Like it's like 6 hours, 4 hours, it's however hours, and like you want to be there for the journey, and then for you to be carried 10% of the way, meaning like if you already know the end, then it's not worth watching the whole entire show. It doesn't matter how good it is, but if you already know the end, then it kind of like takes the bite out of the show. Because it's like, I already know the end and I already know what happens, so it kind of ruins the journey. So I don't suggest you to watch the end. Please click off if you want to watch the show. But if you haven't watched the show, I mean, and you want to like look at the spoilers, please don't. Really, like, I just suggest you not to do it. It would ruin the show for you, and I don't think it would be a good thing going into the show, because if you listen to the spoilers and then you go into the show, I've explained it. Like it just takes the journey out of it. So we're gonna get into that spoilers, but I love anime and I definitely love you guys. So bye if you want to watch the show. All right, so this is the end. This is kind of the spoilers, honestly. What do I have to say about the show? This is like no script. This is just me like ranting. I loved it. I really love the show. It was made beautifully. The end. It was actually a really good end. Like, it was a surprisingly really good end. I wouldn't mind an OVA of the wedding of the show. Like, I wouldn't mind. I really want. I want to see Taiga in a wedding dress, because I think that would be really like, it would be really cute, and I would love that. That would be like an official end. That would be like just the end. Chinibyo, they did like kind of the OVA, not the OVA, but the movie, and I kind of want that for Toradora. Kind of like a movie or an OVA of the wedding dress and like the wedding in general, and then everybody just lining up, and then just like a happy ending, and then maybe like a 5-minute clip of just like their kids and their family afterwards. And I think that would be like a really heartwarming like ending in the series. So I hope they actually go back, because they would make a lot of money. Like, no joke, they would make a lot of money, because Toradora actually physically did make a lot of money. I don't know what to say. It was just a well-made show. Like Taiga and Ryuuji, they got together. I think that was really good. I think Minori got a little bit singled out, but like it kind of goes off of destiny, where like they were destined to be together, and then like Ryuuji literally like went through like a snowstorm to like go get Taiga. So like it was destiny. It was always bound to happen. So I wouldn't mind like an OVA, like a little short of like a wedding. But it's kind of my thoughts on it, honestly. Like, I love the show. The voice acting was amazing. Like I was saying, like, Amy was, like, I didn't like her in the beginning, but I really love her now, just because she was the realest, honestly. Taiga, best Tsundere, ain't gonna lie. I can't say anything about that. Oh, not the best Tsundere, like, one of the best, like, the top 5, basically. But I really love the show, and, literally, like, I don't know what to say. Like, it was just a really well-made show. So, if you went to the spoilers, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I love anime, and I definitely love you guys. Goodbye.